What's up, guys? It's Derek here. Welcome to my patch 13.14 tier list. Prior to the V patch, this was kind of a crazy patch with Bard Legends running around everywhere, with the Taric being super broken and like Invokers and everything. After the V patch, the patch has cooled down significantly. There are a ton of different viable comps, and it honestly has become one of the best comps of this set so far. Also, augment stats were removed this patch, which is interesting to say the least, but that is also sort of maybe helped there be less like, oh, this thing is just giga broken because you can see it in the stats because, not everyone can, well, no one can see the stats. That being said, let's get into the tier list. Also, you'll notice this is the first time I'm doing the tier list on Tactor. I'm continuing my partnership with Tactor, so if you guys enjoy their website, I will have a link to it down below, which will have a link to this entire tier list in Tactor, so you guys can see, like, I wrote little notes in here, and you can see the comps and, look at all the units and stuff. So if you ever just want to have something open in like your second monitor and just have a quick little like reference for all the comps, and you don't want to open my video every single time, then check the Tactor link down below. So yeah, thanks for Tactor for continuing to partner with the channel. They have a really cool website, and I built the entire tier list in their article builder, I guess, kind of. So yeah, let's get right into it. Starting with, as always, I go from, in my opinion, the least strongest to strongest. So starting with Noxus here. And honestly, Noxus is not at the bottom because it has the lowest cap of any comp. But the way that I evaluate comps is usually by how strong they are on average. And Noxus is not a comp that you can play every single game. Like I say in my little notes here, only play from strong opener with Noxus. You need to be getting stacked stage 2. I really, really hate like lost streak into like 3-2 Noxus, just because I feel like stage 2 is a really, really important time to get your early Noxus stacks. Because if you have Noxus online at like 3-2 with 6 Noxus and you have 0 stacks, you have 1 stack versus having like 5 stacks or 6 stacks if you high roll your stage 2, like it's just a world of difference. Also, something I'll note, a lot of people like building like Titans BT on Darius. I'm quite sure that the best in slot is just IE Hodge +1 in a best case world where you have perfect items, IE Hodge Hodge, just because so much of his damage comes from his ability. And he doesn't actually stack Titans very well because he's spending so long actually casting a lot of the time. So, like if he autos a few times and then casts, it's very realistic that he only has like 10 Titan stacks or something. So I think this is actually really good in slot. Darius, and then similarly for Katarina, making her spell crit is really good, giving her healing is really good, and then something like Ionic Spark is good to finish it out. You could also finish it out with like another Hodge if you have maybe like Static Shiv, or if you have like Ionic Spark on someone else. So yeah, I think this is just a very, very strong comp if you have the high roll opener for it. If you get dropped like a Darius from an orb, a Katarina from an orb, if you get Noxus +1 augment, like the Prismatic Noxus +1, that gives you a Darius, an IE, and a Noxus emblem. I mean, that augment is giga broken. I took that last night with no Noxus units whatsoever, and I went second. Yeah, this comp is super broken. This is just sort of like the standard level 7. It is a 3-cost reroll comp. You need Darius 3 and Katarina 3 to actually cap out high enough to win the game. So you're going to play, like this board minus the Warwick on 6. Early game, just play as many Noxus units as you can, and then at Warwick slots in very well because it gives you Challenger and Juggernaut. And then, level 7, you're going to play this board, and then slow roll for Darius 3, Katarina 3. When you get really close, you're going to roll down for them, ideally hit them, and that'll spike your board really hard. Level 8, eventually, I like cutting this Warwick for a Nasus. And then you can either play the Shurima version, so you can add like an Azir here, and here I can go to close the preview and go down to the builder here and start adding some units for you guys. So if you go like level 8, and I'll have to fix this afterwards, you can add Azir plus Nasus. This is my favorite version, especially if you have Noxus Emblem. You just put Noxus Emblem on either Nasus 2 or Azir 2, whoever you hit first, and then you can usually like cut Kled, and then by cutting Kled, you can get in Echo on 8. So it would be like cut Kled, Noxus Emblem here. If you don't have Noxus Emblem, I don't like it as much because I do like being able to get a Rogan on 8, but it's, if you high roll a bunch of Nasus's or Azirs, it's completely fine to do this version. And like if you don't end up with this version, the other version is basically the exact same version except instead of playing this, it's more like if you don't have Noxus Spat, I would probably play this version. Um, and then just get Echo in, and then you can like roll for Echo, and sometimes like 3-star Echo as well. So 3-star, 3-star, 3-star. So yeah, it's basically either you're playing Echo in this slot, or if you have Noxus Emblem, you're cutting Kled and getting in Azir. And Azir is also strategist, which is really cool as well. So yeah, relatively straightforward. Very, very strong comp if you have like the potential high roll for it. And yeah, I think these are the strongest items. As far as augments go, you just want combat augments if you can. I do say here that I think Caitlyn Legend, like in the video that I showed earlier, I think Caitlyn Legend is like insanely strong in this comp. Just because it basically gives you like if you hit a 2-star Warwick with Caitlyn Legend or a 2-star Swain, you are just cruising early. So I think that is a really, really good legend to play with this comp. These are usually like sort of ideal legends. I don't really have like Ornn and Poro you can play in like any comp. So like I don't actually have Ornn and Poro on any of these. But I do think Caitlyn is like the ideal legend if you're playing this comp. So yeah, that is Noxus. Let's move on to our next comp, which is 6 Sorcerer. Pretty standard 6 Sorcerer board. All of these boards I tried to show you like a sort of standard level 8, but I don't have like the level like the capped level 8 version. So obviously like we're playing 6 Sorc here, but eventually we'll be able to cut Malzahar and get in Ahri here. So, like I don't have that version, but that would be, the final version of the comp. A few notes here. Zezirot's Portal is a just insanely good item in this comp. Because the comp really lacks frontline, as you can see, like we're literally putting an Ori up here because we have 5 backline units. So yeah, I really, really like Zezirot in this comp. If I ever have an early bow or giant spell, I will look to make Zezirot because it's a great slam early as well. It just helps you win streak early, and then late game it helps you with frontline. Ionix Spark is really good in this comp, even though Lux shreds MR because she shreds flat MR. So if you add percent MR to flat MR, you can get their MR values really, really low. So I do still like Ionic Spark. Like Lux starts casting on the Spark target, and she just zaps them down. Like it's actually nuts. Um, Other itemization uh, point is that blue buff is actually BIS Lux now after her mana changes. Prior to the mana changes, Shojin was really strong, but you really, really like blue buff now. I mean, Shojin's still fine on Lux, but blue buff is really, really good on Lux. She's also more of a GS user than a JG user because she is a front to back unit. So, like, blue buff GS, I would say, is like BIS and then give her a Radiant item, or you can give Jarvan a Radiant item. It really just depends on who you have items for. If you have 3-item Lux, then give Jarvan. If you have 3-item Jarvan, give Lux. It's fine. This can also be a Vel'Koz carry comp if you hit a bunch of Vel'Kozes early. So like if you're high rolling Vel'Kozes, like infinite of them, then I would absolutely just play for Vel'Koz 3. The level 7 version of this board is usually we're just not playing our last 2 sorcerers, so it's like cut these 2 and play a Kassadin in this extra slot. So yeah, like it's like Kassadin will provide decent frontline. It's also sort of like if you don't have Lux yet, then it's more like cut these 2, and then you'll still have Void in. But I mean, once you hit Lux, Lux is really, really strong. So you want to get her in, and obviously like Demacia in with Sona. Early game you can play around like Teemo instead of Sona because he gives you strategist, but later you definitely want to get that Demacia in because just having Radiant item on Lux is so good. But yeah, I think this is a really solid AP comp, one of the best AP lines. I would say the best AP line outside of the high roll situation, which we'll talk about in our first best comp. Um, but yeah, I think just a very, very strong AP comp if you're playing AP. It's also really straightforward. You just slap 4 Sorks on your board early game, and it's very, very strong. 4 Sorks with a like the best case board is 4 Sorks plus Kassadin plus Teemo. Because then you're getting multicaster, you're getting Void in, you're getting Bastion in. Like it's just so strong. So it's a really strong opener that can carry you to level 7, level 8, hit either Vel'Koz 3 or Lux 3, and then you're cruising. And once you get Ahri in late game, you get some items on her. She is an absolutely insane unit, as we will talk on later. And for legends, Master Yi is really good with his last augment. Gotta go fast. That gives them extra mana gen. Veigar is also quite strong just to guarantee like a jeweled lotus for your units. Especially I'm talking about like this build for Lux, like blue buff GS. Blue buff GS, give her like a silver jeweled lotus or a gold jeweled lotus or something, and then she has the crit and she also has the GS. So yeah, very, very strong comp. My opinion, the number 4 comp. Let's move up to number 3. We have Deadeye Aphelios. I think this is just one of the stronger AD boards. This is the 4 Deadeye version where we're running our 4 Deadeyes, and then oh, I missed a unit here. I'm trolling. Here, let me close this preview and edit the guide in real time. Thanks, Tactor. Um, add Alessandra in here. That unit definitely needs to be in here. Yeah, I don't know how I did not get this in. Okay, so this is the board, and then I'll move to the other view because it's prettier. Though I'll come back if I want to like mess around with the board. But like I don't know, isn't this view so pretty? Like they have all the traits up here. It's so beautiful. But yeah, this is the board. 3 Freljord, 4 Deadeye. You're playing around Aphelios, Gwynsu, DB +1, RSBIS. And then, oh, I didn't add the Urgot item. I think I added the Urgot items to the next I don't want to spoil it though. But you'll see Urgot items in the next comp, I believe. But like this is really good in slot of Aphelios. Similarly to the Sorc comp, I feel like this is like the AD version of the Sorc comp, where you can also play on a 3-cost reroll variant, where if you hit a bunch of Akshans early, you can just play Akshan reroll. The only issue is that Winsu is really, really good on Aphelios and like pretty mid on Akshan, and then like Renan's is quite good on Akshan, but really mid on Aphelios. So those items aren't super interchangeable, but Deathblade is really, really good on both. Like Giant Slayer is strong on both. Guardbreaker is fine on both. IE is fine on both. There's a comp that really, really, because of the way Deadeye works, values raw AD. So any augment that gives you raw AD, social distancing is broken in this comp. What's the one called? Is it Gifts from the Fallen? Is that the one where every time one of your units dies, units get stats? That's really strong in this comp, just because all your units are going to die. Your backliners are going to get a bunch of AD, and they're pew 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 Deadeye shot and just like one shot enemy backliners. So yeah, raw AD very strong in this comp. That's why Deathblade is so good. The augment that obviously I think it's called a Cut Above that gives you a Deathblade. That augment is giga broken in this comp. Some of the most broken setups you can have with that is you high roll an early action, you get a Cut Above, put a Deathblade on him, and your game is just easy. But yeah, anytime you get offered an early action, I would think about playing around this comp. It can be Akshan reroll, or like if you don't hit a bunch of Akshans, you just pivot into this. And yeah, I mean it's pretty straightforward. On level 7, usually I'm not playing Akshan, I'm just playing this board and just playing 3 out of 4 Deadeye, because if you say cut like Shen, which is the other straightforward cut, then your front line is like really sus. I guess if you have like Sejuani 2, Taric 2, Lysandre 2, maybe this 2, you could play the 4 Deadeye version and not worry about the Shen, but Shen's a very solid addition on 8, so yeah, like this a lot. You can also get in instead of Shen, and here I'll then close the preview, bring it back up, and then think about show other units that you can add. Um, Something like a Scion is just like a very, very good unit as well. So yeah, you can play him. He's good. He's a very strong unit, so you can throw him on the board as well. Don't need to build armor reduction because we're playing Freljord. Worst case scenario, if you end up building a Last Whisper, we saw a game from Robin Songs on my YouTube channel where he ended up building Last Whisper and then played this comp anyway. So it is playable with Last Whisper. It's just not ideal because you're getting so much shred from Freljord already that you don't really need it. But yeah, it's not the end of the world if you happen to build some shred. So another very strong comp, in my opinion, the number 3 strongest comp. Moving up to number 2, a very similar comp, but just the Zeri version instead of the Aphelios version. But we're still playing, Urgot. We're still playing Sejuani. Is Zeri. This is Piltover Zeri, Foregone Foregunner. Once again, I am showing the more standard level 8 version if you don't high roll on 8, but obviously late game Tristan is going to come out for Senna. If you have a strong enough frontline late game, once you hit all this stuff, 2-star, Vi can come out for Heimerdinger. Heimerdinger, really, really solid late game unit. His grenade is just broken, and the turret is just broken. If you lack Shred, you can build Shred on him. So you can go like Meccano, the burn one, and 2 Shreds. If you already have Shred, already have healing reduction, you can go the repair version, just triple repair, put it on frontline, completely fine. So yeah, if you high roll it early, you can do Goldenator, but if you high roll it early, you might lack frontline. But I mean, if you have a big T-Hex, it's definitely doable. But yeah, this is a pretty straightforward board as well. You ideally want to play it from Piltover Opener, but you don't even necessarily have to. The comp is strong enough that like if you hit this board, if you hit Zeri 2, Urgot 2, and everything on level 7, level 8, you can play this comp and just have like a tiny, 10 stack T-Hex or something if you get it in like stage 4 or like late stage 3. Obviously, it's nice to have a 40 stack T-Hex that's just laser beaming down your enemies. Sejuani, very strong frontliner in this comp, but similar to the other comp, you can also just play a Scion over the Sejuani. If you hit like an early Scion one, I'd absolutely just play Scion early game, and then also like late game. If you say like the super cap version of the board would be get Scion in, cut the Vi, and then get like a Heimerdinger in. So yeah, and then you have like your turret here and go pew 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 and win the whole game. So this is like a more capped, and then like this would come out for Senna, but I don't want to ruin my comp more because I'm gonna have to rebuild this because I want to post this on Doctor's website. So yeah, I would say this is like a pretty that's like a cap version of the board. This is like a very standard roll version of the board. But yeah, I mean, early game you can play around Jinx. Zaun mods. Robotic Arm now works on Zeri. It used to be sort of like bugged or just like have a poor interaction with Zeri, but it works on Zeri now. So Robotic Arm on Zeri is very, very strong now. So, any sort of damage, augment, Zaun mod on Zeri is good. The other one that's really good is Virulent BioWare. That's a very, very strong one on Zeri. But even like Shimmer Injector is fine on Zeri. And then you'll put a tank one on Urgot usually. Or if you have like double damage one, like Shimmer Injector here, Robotic Arm here is amazing. Also, I don't know. I watched a Mortalk video where he said if you have a damage one, you always get a tank one, or vice versa. But I definitely have gotten double damage one before, so I don't know what the deal with that is. But it's very I've definitely seen like Robotic Arm Shimmer Injector or something. Maybe Shimmer Injector doesn't count as a damage one, but it definitely seems like a damage one. I'm not sure. But yeah. Zaun +1 is a really, really good way to cap out this board. So if you get Zaun +1, then you're gonna be playing more on like the 6 Zaun variation. So then it's going to be more like this, and you're going to have to slot in a Warwick so that you can get 5s on, and then your 6 on. So it's usually going to be you're probably going to end up having to like cut Tristana and just play 3 out of 4 Gunner for a long time, and then your Zaun spat can go here. If you have the Zaun one where they explode, then you're going to want to play Jarvan because you can put Jarvan in, put the Zaun spat on him, give him the mod where he explodes, have him jump into the enemy backline, ideally put a Warmogs on him. BIS is Zonspat double Warmogs on this Jarvan. He will jump into the enemy backline, explode, and it's just GG. It just blows up their entire team. So that's a really, really strong setup if you can get to it a little bit. I mean, you only really need Zon +1, so it's not even that high roll. And worst case, you can put just that on Sejuani. But yeah, I feel like that is like Giga Broken with the 6 on. Robotic Arm is very solid with 6 on. I mean, a lot of the 6 on upgrades are really, really solid. So I feel like any chance I get to play 6 on, I will absolutely play it in this comp. So yeah, that is Piltover Zeri. I also included the Piltover cash out table for the T-Hex here if you want to sell T-Hex. So that's included in the guide. Look, I put little resources in for you guys like a beast. Also, Legends I didn't talk about. Legends for both this comp and for the Aphelios comp is just Master Yi in an ideal world. Like I said, Ornn's fine, Poro's fine, playing Caitlyn into this is completely fine. But like in an ideal world, BIS Legend would probably be Master Yi. Get a broken pumping up, either prismatic or gold pumping up. Silver pumping up is not very good. The first Master Yi augment, if you're not familiar, and just go to town with infinite attack speed on your Zeri and just win the game. So yeah, very, very strong comp. In my opinion, the second strongest comp. So to go to number one, in my opinion, the strongest comp in the game right now, if you can hit it, it's going to be Ahri carry. This is Ahri Invokers, but the real, at the end of the day, strongest comp is just Ahri. Ahri plus whatever. People have realized, especially with the changes to Ahri this patch, where they have like made her animations faster. Faster? Sorry, I up there. She's just a broken unit. You play Ahri. If you play the 6 Invoker version, you don't even need mana items on her because she's going to be getting so much mana from the Invoker and the Ionia that you don't even need mana item on her. So you just go like Archangel's going to take her a while to cast, Gunblade so that she can like heal up your entire board, and then JG, and she will just absolutely one-shot boards. This RE1 will absolutely one-shot boards. So play this comp. It is very, very strong. You can, like I said, you can play this version if you're playing Sorks. You can also do just the Sork version of this, and like instead of Mal's, you put Ahri in here, and then if you can hit an RE2 late game, put items on her. But like I said, even RE1 just does an insane amount of damage, just like way too much, and casts so quickly now with all of her new stuff, and she usually doesn't need mana items. If you get 3 Ionia plus like 2 Invoker in for her, she's absolutely chilling with just like this kind of setup. That to be said, like if you get a blue buff on her, it is definitely not bad at all. So like if you're looking for Ahri items and you see a blue buff on Carousel, I would definitely not turn that down. But yeah, this is like six Invoker version. So what usually you're going to do is just play like an Invoker opener. You're gonna play around like Karma or Soraka as your main carry. Play like 4 Invoker, eventually 6 Invoker on 7, like this entire board minus Ahri basically on 7. If you hit the board 2-star, and like this will be a Cassiopeia because you probably didn't high roll rise on 7, but if you did, you're a beast. You'll just play this board. It's usually stable on 7 once you hit everything 2-star, like minus the Ahri, and that can carry you to 8, and then you can play around Ahri. If you have infinite karmas, you can roll for karma 3, but like Ahri is such a spike that I would usually go 8, unless, like I said here, unless you have like 5 or 6 karmas, then it's fine to roll for karma 3. But if you have 3 karmas and you're level 7, absolutely just go fast 8 and pop off like a beast. Like this unit is just so broken, and you get Ionia, and this even gets Sorkin with the the Taric, like all the synergies fit in so well with the 6 Invoker. Yeah, this comp is just beautiful. But yeah, I've been beat late game by so many Ahris. The only way that I was able to beat Ahri, okay, this is like an aside, but I played this game yesterday. And the only way I'm able to beat this Ahri comp is by hitting Kaisa 3 XDD. Okay, I'm a beast, but that being said, let's get back to the tier list. I mean, really, this is the last comp. So yeah, I think good mix of AD and AP, a lot of stuff that can be played. Like I said, a lot of 3-cost reroll options as well. I wouldn't really recommend playing stuff like Kale and Tristana and other like 1-cost rerolls on the patch. Like Hero Augment into their respective unit is fine. Like the Warwick reroll, they buffed the boss this patch. It's like okay. Um, Galio's a more playable unit, so like Winds of War is kind of okay. There is a Double Trouble comp that I don't have in here, but you can play Double Trouble Galio Soraka or Cassidon Soraka. That's a comp I've seen people play. I haven't played it that much myself, so I didn't want to include it in the tier list because I just don't have that much experience. And it's also just like in like super niche, right? Like very hard. Like you're not going to play that on an average game. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the tier list. Once again, please go check out the version that's on Tactor down below. It helps me out a ton. It literally, if you just click on the tier list, and it helps Tactor out as well, so that you guys can check out their website, see all the other guides that other people have created. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll also be doing a Legends tier list, I think, for this patch, so keep your eyes out for that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.